Bwana CS. We've talked a lot about so many things. We've talked about digitization. We've talked about a lot of things that ICT can do for the counties, a lot of different activities, ongoing projects and programs. However, we also cannot ignore the fact that there are issues of safeguarding privacy and data security within this space that cannot be ignored. In as much as there is the individual responsibility, individuals, I believe, have a responsibility to make sure their data is secure. It is also important for us as an industry to just make sure that we are safeguarding privacy and we are facilitating innovation and economic development even as we move into this new dispensation. Your remarks.
Thank you, Fiona. Indeed, from a policy and regulatory perspective, one of the integral components that is imperative is the issue of data security and data privacy. As we digitalize our services, we are aware that we run the risk of exposing ourselves to cyber insecurity. So in a proactive manner, we have gone ahead to establish and operationalize the Office of the Data Commissioner, Data Protection Commissioner, whose sole mandate is to ensure data privacy and data security. At macro level, we have also come up with a multifaceted team entailing different facets of government who are continuously scanning the operational environment to discern the emerging trends in cyber insecurity and correspondingly coming up with proactive measures so that we have an elaborate risk mitigation framework around our digitalization agenda. So the assurance I want to give Kenyans is that as we digitalize, we have got an elaborate risk mitigation framework that would ensure that there is both privacy and security of data. But in the same vein, our digitalization agenda overall must be anchored on an enabling policy, legal, and regulatory framework. So in a participatory manner, as the ministry charged with the functional mandate for policy formulation and regulatory aspects, we are continuously, again, engaging integral stakeholders in the digital space so that based on emerging issues in the operational environment, we can see where there is need to review the existing policies, laws, and regulations so that the digitalization agenda is anchored on a sound policy, legal, and regulatory framework. Perhaps I may also add one more thing, that the entire facet of digitalization we are undertaking as government requires high levels of collaboration and partnership. In fact, all that we are undertaking as government in the digitalization agenda is heavily augmented by the private sector. An example which I had alluded to earlier is the rollout of the free smart enabled phones, where the telecommunication companies are coming in by intervening in the gap that is envisaged in the market. So public-private partnership is a critical success factor for purposes of our digitalization agenda. As government, we can perhaps do a maximum of 52%, 48% to be done by the private sector. If we can do everything through the private sector and we only remain with the ambit of ensuring that there's an enabling policy and regulatory framework, so be it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for being with us. Thank you, panelists, for the wonderful discussion we've had. We come to the end of our session. In the interest of time, we may not take questions right now unless I'm told I can take one burning question. 1, 2, 3, no mic, no hand. Okay, there's a hand that went up. I said one burning question. So kindly, you'll have the mic. Do you have a roving mic? And then give us your name, tell us who you're addressing your question to.
Thank you all. My name is Lerin Kitema. I am the Chief Officer ICT from Kilifi County. I am addressing this question to CSO Wadlow. If you could kindly help us with the broadband of the current connectivity of the internet, The current connectivity is a bit slow, so we are experiencing a lot of buffering. While it's supposed to be 100 Mbps, it's currently at 12, buffering at 12.5. So this is my humble request to you, so that you can consider this done for our offices. Then the next question, or the next thing that I would request you to address is if we could have a common ICT policy that mirrors the digital transformation right from the ward level, that is supposed to address the issues from the ward level for the county governments and then to the national government. That would be quite in order for the county governments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bonasias, will you take that or?
Yeah, let me pick that right away. In terms of the capacity she has alluded to, what we are doing as government is to enhance the capacity of our North B network. As we speak, we are aware that there are certain challenges because of the excess demand on our infrastructure, and we are enhancing the capacity of the North B from 10 GB to 30 GB already. In terms of the policy framework at county level, first of all, let me stress on the importance of partnership, alignment, and effective nexus between what we are doing at the national government level and the county government level. We have had consultations, extensive ones, with the county government. And we have agreed that on this integral digitalization agenda, we are going to work together. We have gone ahead to clearly articulate what our roles and responsibilities are as government and what the roles and responsibilities of the county governments would be. When it comes to policy, legal, and regulatory framework, as government, we will do our bit. But for purposes of operationalization, the county governments will also do their bit. A case in point is the issue of wayleaves for fiber infrastructure. We are aware, and we have shared this with the county government, that they are currently having discussions across all the 47 counties so that we have got a uniform policy framework with a view to addressing the issue of wayleaves connectivity. So, at macro level again, we are in the process of introducing sector-wide reforms. We are aware that there could be certain gaps in certain policies, laws, and regulatory frameworks. We want to give this a holistic approach, sit down with all the integral stakeholders, the political class inclusive, all the way from the ward level, so that we discern their views that can be integrated into these reforms from a policy and regulatory perspective. So yes, we are aware that there could be some challenges. We are soon embarking on a process of coming up with sector-wide reforms from a policy and regulatory perspective, and all the integral stakeholders will be integrated in this process. We want to make it as participatory as possible so that the integral views of all the stakeholders are integrated in that space here.
Thank you so much. And with that, we come to our close.
One comment, please. One comment. Just one. Very quickly. A lot of our conversation has focused around services, applications, and the internet. And I wanted to touch on one more that will hinge on technology to transform that sector, and that's our utility grid. This is electricity, this is water. Water alone in this country, we lose 14 billion shillings every year to water that is siphoned away fraudulently, taking away fair use for every citizen. If you have an opportunity to visit in our host county here in Eldoret, in Eldowas, and you look at the role technology is playing to allow water to be a fair and equitably distributed resource, natural resource for everyone, please do so. Because that type of wastage and that type of fraud is what technology can also help enable. If you have some time, stop over at the booth over there, at the Safaricom booth over at the right-hand corner over there. Tell them Cynthia sent you. You might get some free airtime. But even more importantly, it's to understand how the transformation of water and electricity can digital meters in the home, in the business, where water is distributed or electricity is distributed, and where it's produced, and having transparency in that process and the change and transformation, it can help our country in its economic growth agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia, for that. Mr. CS, yes, I'll allow you.
Yeah, maybe let me just outline what, in our view as national government, are immense opportunities available to the counties in this digitalization space. One, the unaccounted for water, UFW. The level is very high. Through digitalization, we can reduce the level of unaccounted for water in the water companies to minimal levels. Enhancement of the revenue base. There are quite a lot of opportunities, business activities being undertaken which are not in the tax bracket. The counties can leverage on technology to bring everybody into the tax bracket as a means of enhancing the locally generated revenues and perhaps pursuing alternative revenue lines. E-commerce is imperative, and this is one area where we are partnering with the counties. The counties are giving us suitable sites, market sites. We are providing internet connectivity so that those domiciles at the bottom of the economic pyramid can leverage on technology for purposes of e-commerce. Trade licenses, ticketing, again, that can be done through technology. Issues to do with public participation, as is screened in our 2010 constitutional dispensation. We don't need to continue having physical barazas to sensitize members of the public about critical programs at both levels of government. We can leverage on technology to do e-public participation and even communication. But finally also, allow me to talk about the digital end game. What do we envisage as the end product? One, we are going to have paperless government at both levels of government. We will no longer have manual processes because all records will be digitized and all services will be digitalized. So that is the frontier we are pursuing. Two, we will have a critical mass of jobs, digital jobs available for our youth as a means of alleviating the unemployment problem that we are currently witnessing, not just in Kenya, but all over the world. So digital jobs is another end product. Three, a gig economy. Kenyans will be able to undertake different economic engagements at the same time, working for one organization in the morning, another one in the afternoon, and doing their own thing in the evening. Four, digital entrepreneurship. There's a critical mass of opportunities, especially for the youth who are engaged in the creative economy that can be exploited by virtue of leveraging on technology. That is another end product. At macro level, overall, we will be able to enhance the level of efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery at both levels of government. We will be able to collect more revenue while leveraging on technology to the extent that we should have adequate resources, Professor Njuguna will tell you this, to settle our external debt and have surplus for both our domestic development and recurrent expenditure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. CS, for summarizing what I was going to say as a closing remark. And so with that, I believe we've come to the end of the session. I know that there are a lot of you who have a lot of questions. I will also be available to try and assist. Fiona Songa, CEO of the Technology Service Providers Association of Kenya. So then we would like to just ask you to applaud the panelists for the conversation we've had. And we can meet off here to answer your other questions and see how we can assist. Asanteni
in yellow, and I'll share them with the panelists. I know CS Owalo is very, very passionate about the subject he's speaking on. I know very well that Governor Ochich is also very passionate about ICT in the counties. Ezra Chiloba himself from the Communications Authority, they are very diligent and very, very committed to seeing ICT work. If you have got questions, please, draft them and I'll share with them wherever they are seated. I will get opportunity for them to respond to them. And thank you very much again for that. Let's clap for them again. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we started late